Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Talks. Today, we are going to cover some important aspects of the household size income statement that have been identified by DPI as areas that need more training. So we're not going to be covering all requirements of the income statement, but at the end of the presentation, there are slides where you can find additional information and resources that you can access later. And since this webinar focuses on income statements, it is only applicable to group childcare centers, outside of school hour care sites, and adult care centers that participate on the CECFP. If there are any adult care centers on there, we do on this webinar, we do have a slightly different income statement than the childcare component, which we will point out on the pertinent slides, but the main concepts that we're going to be covering today are the same for all programs. Throughout this presentation, you will see some web links on the slides that you can access the links on the PDF version that we put into the Q&As. We also have that posted on the Tuesday Talks webpage. All right, so let's get started. Today we want you to walk away with knowing these important points about the household size income statements, or we will refer to them as HSIS on the slides. So the first thing is agencies must use the most current version of the income statement. You can only claim a participant as free or reduced when you have an income statement on file, and income statements must be complete and valid for any participant that is claimed as free or reduced. So now let's go through each of these points in more detail. So let's start with the requirement to use the most current forms when you distribute the income statement and the household letter to families. So these forms are updated every year, usually in July, and they reflect the updated income eligibility guidelines and any other revisions that DPI makes to the forms. There is a revision date that's listed at the top of each form, and it's shown here in the red box on the slide. So you always know if you're using the most current version. And when the revised forms are available, DPI includes the links in the CECFP bulletin, which is emailed to all agencies, and we also post them on the DPI Guidance Memorandum website under Guidance Memorandum number 1. So it is your responsibility to use the most current form. But remember to always throw out any blank versions that are older than the current version and that you may have on hand, just so that you don't accidentally use the older version in the future. The next important takeaway is that you can only claim a participant as free or reduced if there is an income statement on file for them. Even if you think that the family may qualify as free or reduced based on information you know about the family, if there's no income statement on file, you cannot count that participant as free or reduced. If there is no income statement on file, you have to count that participant as non-needy. But only after an income statement is obtained can you count that participant as free or reduced, obviously if they qualify, and we're going to talk about how to do that next. So the next takeaway is that you must have a complete and valid income statement on file for any participant that you want to claim as free or reduced. It's important to keep in mind that the adult household member must complete parts 1, 2, and 3 of the income statement, and that your agency staff cannot complete this for the household. Now we know that many household size income statements may be turned in and are missing information. So when that happens, you must obtain that missing information if you want to count the participant as free or reduced. And with the exception of the adult household member's signature and date, you can obtain information over the phone. However, you must record the missing information on the income statement and include who provided the information to you, the date the information was received, and your initials, as it's shown on the screen here. Again, in these situations with missing or incomplete information, an income statement must be determined as non-needy until the information is obtained and documented on the income statement. So let's go through each section of the income statement and discuss what is a complete income statement and cover some important areas that seem to provide some confusion. So this first part is part 1, benefits. So if a household checks the box for one of the assistance programs and includes their case number, the participant is automatically free. For childcare, these programs are Food Share Wisconsin, Wisconsin Works or W-2 cash assistance, and FDPIR, which is the food distribution program on Indian reservations. For the adult care component, the programs are a little different, and we won't discuss those today, but they are listed on the adult care income statement. But we want you to remember 2 things. The first thing, the Wisconsin Child Care subsidy is not the same as W-2 cash assistance. This is also stated on the income statement in the red box to the right of the case numbers as a reminder to both you and the households. So what this means is that staff cannot assume that a household that receives W-2 child care assistance also receives food share or W-2 cash assistance. And you also cannot just write the child care assistance number on the income statement. Another important point we want you to remember is that that Quest card numbers, which are 16 digits and they start with 5077, are not valid to include on the income statement. This is also listed on the income statement in the blue box. If a Quest card number is listed, you must request the 10-digit case number from the household member in order to claim that participant as free. Please remember that participants must be counted as non-needy if the income statement has a missing or invalid case number. Households that do not receive benefits and did not complete part 1 must complete part 2. The household must report all people that are living in that household, all the income that's received by each person, and then also indicate how often the income is received, or otherwise known as the pay frequency. And they do that by checking a box next to the amount. So checking the pay frequency box is really important because it's required in order to calculate the total household income. So when households report more than one source or amount of income, you must add up all of the reported income. And when the reported income is in multiple pay frequencies, so for example, let's say one income is in monthly and one income is shown every 2 weeks, then you must convert each income to an annual amount, not a monthly amount. And these conversion factors are listed at the bottom of each income statement, which is also shown here on the slide. When you're doing the calculations, also remember to not round any values. Just always add up the unrounded values to get one total annual amount. And then you compare that amount to the annual column on the income scale to determine if the participant is free, reduced, or non-needy. If all of the reported income is in the same pay frequency, so for example, one income is listed as $700 weekly and another is listed as $500 weekly, you just add up all that reported income to get one total amount for that pay frequency. So in this case, you'd add those up to be $1,200 weekly. You do not have to convert to annual or monthly income. You would just compare the total income to the income scale for that pay frequency. So in this case, you'd compare to the weekly column. And there are different columns for each pay frequency, so check that out in the income scale. The last section, or part 3, is for all households to complete. The adult household member must sign and date the form. In addition, when the household completes part 2 of the form, which is the income section, the adult must also provide the last 4 digits of their Social Security number or indicate that they don't have one. An income statement is incomplete if the household completed part 2 but did not provide the last 4 digits of their Social Security number, or if the household member did not sign or date the form. If any required information is missing from parts 1, 2, or 3, as we mentioned previously, the income statement must be determined as non-needy until the information is obtained. As we discussed earlier, you must record the missing information on the income statement and include who provided the information, the date the information was received, and your initials. So remember, you cannot count a participant as free or reduced until the income statement is complete. The last point we want you to take away today is that income statements are valid for 12 months from the effective month of determination. So for example, if the effective month of determination is October, the statement is valid through October 31st of the following year. And at that time, the form expires. When an income statement expires, the free or reduced eligibility expires, and you can no longer claim that participant as free or reduced. You must collect a new income statement from the household. And if you do not obtain a current income statement and the one that you have is expired, you must count that participant as non-needy until a new income statement is on file. So because income statements are only valid for 1 year, you must collect a new income statement from all households once a year and never use expired forms. You are encouraged to collect new income statements at the same time each year, even from households that are new and may have recently completed a form. We suggest a DPI doing this in September or October each year to coincide with the new federal fiscal year. Having all households complete a new income statement at the same time each year reduces the chance that a participant will have a form expire and be claimed as free or reduced without a valid statement on file. So we covered a lot of very important information in a short amount of time. So let's just review some of the takeaways again. So you must always use the most current version of the income statement. An income statement must be in file when claiming a participant as free or reduced, and the income statement must be complete and valid to claim a participant as free or reduced. So with that, a participant must be counted as non-needy when there's no income statement on file, the income statement is missing information or is incomplete. If the income statement has incorrect information listed, so for example, if there's a quest card number that's listed in place of the case number, or if the income statement is expired or it's older than 1 year. So having a complete and valid income statement on file is really important because participants who are claimed as free or reduced without a valid income statement on file can result in your agency having to pay back funds to DPI. So take the time to correctly determine your income statements and reduce the chance of errors. So since we didn't cover all requirements of the income statements, we do have other resources available to help you when you're determining income statements. On the Guidance Memorandum webpage, under Guidance Memorandum number 1, are the required forms that we have. So there's the income statement, the household letter, the income record, and the income scale. They're all shown here on the left side. We also have other helpful resources such as the instructions for determining the income statement. This is also shown here on the right. And this is a step-by-step guide that goes through each section of the income statement and provides very specific details on how to correctly determine the income statements. So we highly recommend printing and going through this guide if you haven't already done so. These instructions that are shown here are for the child care component. However, there is a similar guide for the adult care component as well. For a full training on the income statements, we also have the income statement lesson in the CACFP e-learning course. The link on the slide goes to the training webpage. Then if you scroll down under the CACFP e-learning courses section, click on your type of program to go to your specific lesson. And this is a great tool when you're training new staff on how to correctly determine income statements as well. And lastly, if you have any questions about these resources or about the CCFP in general, please reach out to your assigned consultant. That's what we're here for. You can find your agency's consultant at the Consultants by County link that's on this slide. All right, so I think it's almost time. I guess we can wait a couple more minutes if there's any other questions. Otherwise, if you do think of a question after today, or again, another general question about CCFP, you can go to that consultants by county link and look up your consultant and send them a question about anything. So that's a good way to do that. So I guess with that, if we have no more questions, Megan, so far?
Nope, still no more questions. I think you have answered all of them.
Perfect. All right. Well, then I just want to say thank you to everybody for attending today's first CACFP Tuesday Talks on household size income statement. So this webinar was recorded and the link will be posted on the Tuesday Talks webpage along with the handout of the slides and the notes. Our next Tuesday Talks is scheduled for February 23rd, and it will be on special dietary needs. So be sure to tune into that one. Thank you all for coming and have a great day.